Welcome back, my friends. Told you we'd be right back. Everybody say read it aloud.
Read aloud.
Say read it aloud.
Read aloud.
Say R-E-A-D aloud.
R-E-A-D.
Everybody say read aloud.
Read aloud.
Say read aloud.
Read aloud.
Say riggedy riggedy read aloud.
Read aloud.
All right, guys. Now we're on chapter 5 of the third grade Angels by Jerry Spinelli. So we just finished up with George Suds going home and telling his mom all about he was embarrassed that Judy Billings knew that he loved her because Joey told him. And she said that she didn't think it was a big deal. Judy wasn't going to say or do anything. So just leave it alone. So let's see what happens next. The next chapter, chapter 5, is called The Hat. The Hat. What do you think, Jeff? Is it here?
No,
What do you think the hat?
Some spit or water.
Ooh, I spit on you, my bad. What do you think the hat is going to be?
Like the angel thing.
Oh, the halo? What do you think?
Yeah, the halo.
Halo? All right, let's see. Chapter 5, The Hat. Mom was right. Judy Billings didn't spit at me or say hello or look at me or anything in school today. In other words, she ignored me like every other day. Even when she dropped her pencil on the floor during silent reading and I picked it up and handed it to her, she didn't say thank you. And my mother was right about the angel stuff too. From the moment Mrs. Sims said, "Good morning, angels," and we all answered, "Good morning, Mrs. Sims," you could feel the angel buzz in the air. Darren Tapp, who never says please or thank you, raised his hand and said, "Mrs. Sims, may I please go to the bathroom?" And when Darren came back, Missy Haverback, who's the shyest person in class, whispered to him as he went past her desk, "Your fly is open." That means your zipper. All day long, pleases and thank yous and pardon me's were flying around like bees at a picnic. Don't worry about it. A lot of who did it too, because from the first minute, all eyes were on Mrs. Sims' desk. Sitting right there was an apple, a really big red apple. A really big red polished apple, buffed to shine like it was a new car. Whispers raced down the aisle. Who did it? Who did it? Who did it? Nobody knew, except me. As the whispers were flying around, I was doing my usual thing in my seat behind Judy Billings, staring at her perfect, uncovered right ear. I started to notice something. The perfect curve at the top of her ear was getting pink, then red. The whispers were flying, and Judy Billings was blushing. Why is she blushing? Why is she blushing?
Because you like someone?
Come on, guys. Why is Judy Billings blushing?
Because you like
You probably know, right? I know you know. Judy Billings was blushing. Aha, I thought. The apple came from her. Some of Judy Billings' blush sank into my chest. We shared a secret. I closed my fist and made a vow. Nothing, not 100 spiders or torture by tickling or 10 Gerald Willises could ever make me rat her out. Rat her out means tell on her. During silent reading, Mrs. Sims was writing something. It was hard to concentrate on my book. I kept looking up at her. So did everybody else. We were all wondering the same thing. Is she writing something good about me? Perfect in every way. I kept remembering what Judy Billings said about angels yesterday, and that's what we were today, perfect in every way. We sat straight in our chairs and raised our hand for every question, stood to give our answers, and were quiet as a mouse the rest of the time. I kept reminding myself to keep my lip buttoned and not blurt out stuff like yesterday. Only Joey was bad. He kept making noises and funny faces. He was trying to make us laugh, but nobody did. Even in the lunchroom, we were perfect. Everybody smiled at the lunch ladies and said thank you whenever they handed us something. And everybody chewed with their mouths shut, except Joey. Then came after lunch recess. There's Joey. There's Joey trying to make people laugh. Blurry. Can you see that? There you go.
Why is that so close?
Maybe. It was a warm and sunny day, but really windy. Swings were flapping when nobody sat on them. Basketball shots were curving. Besides the wind, everything was going along pretty normal until a yellow baseball cap came flying onto the playground. On the other side of the fence, a lady in a sweatsuit was stopped, jogging in place. She was pointing to her hat, which had blown off and landed among a bunch of us third graders. For a second, nobody moved, and then it hit all of us at once. Good deed! About 10 of us pounced on the hat. There were so many hands, the best I could do was grab somebody's wrist. We were wrenching and pulling and twisting 10 different ways. I got it! I got it! Let go! Does that look like a good deed to y'all? It might have started off as a good deed, but if they're sitting there fussing and fighting over it, I don't think it's going to be a good deed. Look at the faces. I was first. I was first. Ow! Suddenly, we all snapped apart like a broken wishbone. Eddie Shank was holding the rim of the cat. Diana Briggs was holding the rest. What happened to that?
It's in pieces.
Huh?
It's in pieces.
It's in pieces. They ripped it. Somebody said, uh-oh. Everybody just stared at the hat pieces, except Joey, who was laughing. A screech came from the sidewalk. You little hoodlums! The jogger lady kicked the chain link fence and started running. Mrs. Sims was standing in the doorway watching. Silence in the classroom. The two pieces of the yellow hat sat on Mrs. Sims' desk. In between them was the apple. That was disgraceful, said Mrs. Sims. Very unangelic behavior. Judy Billings raised her hand. Mrs. Sims didn't call on her, but Judy stood up and spoke anyway. But I didn't do it. I was just watching. It sounded like she might cry. Mrs. Sims didn't even look Judy's way. Judy sat down. You're all guilty, said Mrs. Sims. You're guilty of doing it. You're guilty of watching and doing nothing to stop it. How many of you went over to the lady and told her that you were sorry for the bad behavior of your classmates? No hands. Didn't think so. You're guilty of that too. She looked at us like we were burnt toast. Angels, ha! This may be the first class where nobody gets a halo. Angels, you were no better than a pack of sharks after a piece of meat. Joey bursted out laughing. Button it, Peterson, said Mrs. Sims. Joey buttoned it. The rest of us stopped breathing. I guess it was all just words, huh, said Mrs. Sims. Angel talk. No angel do this. She held up a half a hat in each hand. This will never happen again. Her eyes went up and down the rows, zapping each of us with a yeah, you glare. She put the hat halves down. Got it. No sounds came from us. We just boggled and nodded. And that was the end of the hat. So the hat wasn't a halo. The hat was actually a hat. All right, guys, thank you for joining us.
Bye.
We will see you on another day of the Shaw's Read. Third grade Shaw's. Don't worry about this weirdo right here. See you later, alligators.